Welcome. Well, let's get this party started. Back in the day, circa, I don't know, 2023, you could think of LinkedIn more as a stage for your content. You put it out there and you could grow your audience. And I hate to tell you, though you may have figured this out on your own, that is simply not the case anymore. Of course, your content still matters, but today that metaphorical stage is gone and it's turned into what I think of more as a networking cocktail party. And those conversations you're having at that cocktail party are where it's at. So today we're all about shifting your mindset and your actions so that you can get better results on LinkedIn. Welcome to Why Your LinkedIn Videos Flop and How to Fix Them. And let me assure you, it's not you. It is the algorithm. Video is still reported to be the best performing type of content out there. That's reported by all kinds of stats collectors on LinkedIn and also by LinkedIn itself. Video is reported to outperform photos, polls, graphics, carousels, all of it. But it is not as easy to get engagement on LinkedIn with video as it used to be.
As a matter of fact, I really think it's just getting tougher and tougher every day. Every couple of months, the algorithm's changing. And once you figure out one thing with success, all of a sudden, the next day it's not working anymore. It's incredibly frustrating. But let me stop my rant there. And let me introduce, my goodness, my cursor disappeared. I hate that. Let me introduce my co-founder, Laura Garfield. We call her the Word Wrangler here back at the Idea Decanter Ranch.
And while we're at it, Sharon Gatula is my co-founder and our creativity czar on our team. And at Idea Decanter, we create professional video for advisors without the hassle. And we'll tell you a little bit more about that later. But let's look at the plan for today. Here's where we're headed. We are going to meet the quirky 2025 algorithm and learn some things that will set you up well as we move into 2026 when it comes to driving reach and ROI on the platform. We're going to hit some conversation starters, what advisors who are winning on LinkedIn are doing differently when it comes to conversations, and then hit some content that counts. This is where you're going to get some practical strategies to make your videos stand out in what's becoming a more and more crowded video feed. And along the way, we've popped in 2 free offers, so make sure you stick around for those. Also, if you have a question that crops up while we're moving through, go ahead and drop it in the chat or feel free to save it for the end. If we have time, we'll pull it out of the chat and answer it for you live. If not, we want to make sure we can get everyone out in the 30 minutes we promised. So please feel free to stick around and we will answer every question we got for you. So make sure you stick with us.
Exactly. Let's start with that pesky algorithm. It used to reward frequent posting and getting large audiences to connect and follow you. We were all out there connecting with anybody and everyone until all the spammers jumped in, and then we got slammed with all those DMs. But here's some good news. A large audience is certainly beneficial, but you can get a lot of traction without a huge network. And video plays a key role. Kel surprise, right? But right now on LinkedIn, vertical video is pulling in 2 to 4 times more reach and engagement than any other content. And since they launched the mobile video tab, have you seen it on your phone if you're on LinkedIn? Watch times jumped up 36% year over year since they launched it. Vertical short form gets you more reach. It's prioritized by algorithms on every social network. And let's face it, it fits into our scroll happy lifestyle that we have. Am I the only one who drops my phone on my face at night? Is it just me? Here's the bad news though. If I can click. Only 10% of your LinkedIn connections are actually seeing your posts. Likes and comments, I don't know if you've noticed this, they're getting harder and harder to get just by posting.
We,
Let's take a minute for a quick poll. We want to know what you're posting,
whoa,
what
wrong
your
poll.
posting schedule looks like. I'm sorry. And this starts with a whole bunch of posting and ends with never posting. So pick the option that best describes you, and we'll give you a quick minute here.
Okay, LinkedIn posting frequency. How many times a week are you posting? Not getting any multiple times a day, which is actually really good
You
news.
all are so smart.
It's your first gold star of the day. So let me end the poll and share the results, which 1 to 3 times a week seems to be 33%. So that's the winner. 4 or more times a week, kind of the second place. And only 8% of you are down there in a few times a month, and 13% at rarely. So good to know where you're sitting and what your cadence is.
And big gold stars to everybody who said 1 to 3 times a week, because that is now like the sweet spot for social media posting. Um, it used to be posting once a day seemed to be the ticket, but now what's happening is because LinkedIn is prioritizing conversations and not so much just generation of content, we need to think of our posts more like conversation starters. So you don't need to steal all the oxygen in the room and take up all the space. Now, the trick is to post 1 to 3 times a week, and with each of those posts, consider them an invitation to start a conversation with people on LinkedIn. And when you post, there's what we call the golden hour. So technically, they say the first 5 minutes is the most valuable time for your content to get engagement, because LinkedIn is rating each post as it goes up there. So this is when having some team strategy, especially if you're like Danielle with a huge team, can really work well for you, because you can say, hey, this post is going out at 9:15 a.m. I want everyone to just jump on and leave a comment. It's not enough just to like things anymore. Liking things is basically saying, yeah, I'm not going to talk to you right now. What we want is to get those conversations started on LinkedIn. So if somebody just can tag in from your team and say, hey, this brings up some really important points for my clients. Here's what I think about it. And then you can start rolling that conversation. And as you do that, LinkedIn is going to give you more points, let's say, and pop your content out there for more people to see. It's a little bit like a popularity contest on high school, I swear. Even if you have to start the comments off on your own, you can go in there and start that first comment. You do not get dinged for that. It's not only important for your post to have comments, but you want to start engaging with the post of other people. As you go out there commenting on LinkedIn, LinkedIn says, oh, you're busy, you're actually engaging in this content, you are upping the value of what's happening on LinkedIn, and they give you more points. What is really freaky is that your comments get 30% more views than your posts. So if your posts are getting 10% of your audience views, your comments are getting 30% of your audience views. Plus, if you're commenting on somebody else's posts, they're seeing your comments. And when you comment, your name, your title, and your company is showing up in other people's feeds. So it's a way of strategically expanding your network by strategically commenting on your strategic partners, on your COIs, even on clients who are great referral partners for you. So your new goal post at least once a week, and every day go out on LinkedIn and pick 3 to 5 people and leave some comments on their posts. I schedule a 15-minute block on my calendar every morning, and I get in there before work takes over and I get busy and distracted, and I just go out there and I find some people to comment on. Because LinkedIn's all about the conversation now. You can't just post and ghost like you used to be able to back in 2005 maybe. So when you get onto LinkedIn, I want you to think of it like you are at a networking event at the cocktail party. You've got your hors d'oeuvre in one hand, your cocktail in the other, and you're having conversations. And it can be, difficult, at least for me. I don't know about for Laura, because she's more of the wordsmith person. I'm more of like a visual person, to think about, what am I going to start the conversation with? And I think I have a slide for this. Forgive me if I lie. No, I do. Number 1, ask real questions. I'm sure you've seen this. I've seen this a lot. I might even be guilty of doing this, of putting a post up and then being like, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts is so vague. If you think about the overload we have, the noise we have in our lives, like making someone work that hard to comment on your post is just asking too much. Instead, be more specific so that it's easy for them to respond. Try something like, what's one piece of advice you wish you ignored early in your career? If you make it easy for them, then you make it easy for them to comment on your content. Share stories. At Idea Decanter, and really from Laura, we hear stories connect us, stories make us memorable. And it's true across the board. It's been true since we've been telling stories around a campfire. Because nobody's going to bond over your logistical facts and tips, even though they're super educational and super helpful. But 5 tips for productivity is not going to necessarily start a huge conversation. But they might bond over a fun story about how those productivity tips helped you when you were jet lagged and just scrambling to get ready for something. That's going to be more entertaining, and it's going to create more conversation. And then leave space for engagement. I am so guilty of this. I like to give everybody everything. I like to tie it up in a neat bow. I like to make sure everyone understands everything all the way to the end. And leaving it a little bit messy opens up the opportunity for other people to chime in. If you're using ChatGPT, it loves to give you that final sentence that just wraps up everything so tight and perfect. Delete that. Let it hang a little bit, and that way other people can jump in and help finish the thought, add their 2 cents. It's like an open-handed invitation to engage. And then I don't know if this is bad news. It's not great news. Your business page is only shown to 2% of your followers. After you've spent all that time getting people to follow that page, nobody's seeing it, unfortunately, because LinkedIn has made this huge promotion to promote people over companies. And you might say, well, why have a company page at all? Well, you need that company page if you are hiring people, looking for new advisors to join your firm, or if you ever want to do any kind of paid placement ad, because you don't want to create an ad to promote your company and it has to be tied to that business page. And if people go to your business page and there's nothing on it, you're not going to look viable. So we recommend continuing to post things on your business page, but make sure your important content goes to your profile page. So here, Endurance Wealth Partners, they use blog posts, they use content from their broker dealer to populate out their business page. But when they're sharing personal stories, they prioritize it first on their profile page before they add it to their business page. We definitely recommend not reposting because that's not being shown to anybody. So it's better to post it twice over taking a business page and posting it onto your profile, or vice versa. So here's the new protocol. Don't post more than once a day, because if you post that second post, nobody's going to see it. It's like starting a conversation and then just abruptly leaving the cocktail party and starting a conversation somewhere else. Posting 1 to 3 times a week is best practice, and getting in and commenting on at least 3 to 5 posts a day.
So, how can you add a comment that stokes the conversation? In the spirit of perfecting your cocktail party networking skills, let's start with commenting on your own content, which we're not saying post something and get in there and be the first person to comment. But when you post something, especially a piece of content that you think is going to get some traction, you need to do a little babysitting. And that's keeping track of that content over the next few hours, especially during that golden hour, and responding to everybody who comments on it. We were recently finalists for a Wealthies Award, and we did this always a bridesmaid, never a bride, because this was our 4th year of being a finalist. And so we thought it'd be funny, and we knew people would like it. And so I was primed and ready as soon as the video went live. And we did a quick screen cap here of what was happening in the comments, and you can see, Beth said something, and then I responded to Beth, and Beth responded to me. And as much as you can keep that going, you are giving yourself a boost in the algorithm. So think about the chit chat. If you are at a loss for what to say, here is our cheat sheet. And we borrowed this from an amazing LinkedIn marketer named Leah Bliss. It's Lia Bliss. Highly recommend that you follow her on LinkedIn. Her tips are amazing. So here's a format you can use when you hop into the comment. And the first is to tag the person whose post you're commenting on. So that will make sure to show up in their notifications. Hey, someone said something. So, at Sharon Gatula. And then think about it as if someone is just reading your comment and they didn't actually read the full post above, you want to restate the key points. Like Sharon, at Sharon Gatula, I know it must be disappointing to be a 4-time nominee and never have taken home a trophy. And then add your perspective. So in my experience, sometimes getting to the platform of being a finalist is as valuable as having the trophy, though I know the trophy feels great. And you might think about making a video about what it feels like not to take home the trophy, to add in the expertise for anyone who would see that comment and maybe not know, hey, this is what we do. We talk about video all the time. If you need more motivation, LinkedIn reports that members who comment once per week on average see 3 times more profile views. 3 times. That is just commenting once a week. If you follow the diet that Sharon suggested of commenting on 3 people's posts a day, that's going to give you a lot more profile views. And you can just continue to multiply that. So we pulled up our friend Derek Pollard's profile here because this guy is what I consider a masterclass in commenting. And I would highly recommend searching up Derek Pollard on LinkedIn and giving him a follow. Because what Derek does is closely monitor his key contacts' profiles. And every time they post something, Derek is in there giving them a comment and basically boosting, lifting up their content. So he is sort of the ultimate networker at the LinkedIn cocktail party. He is buzzing around the room, giving everybody an attaboy on the shoulder. So highly recommend taking a look at what Derek is doing.
So Robert, you said, when do we do our real job? Well, that's why I only give myself 15 minutes, because like any social media, all of a sudden you can start scrolling and be like, oh my goodness, I've been on here for 45 minutes. I have things to do. So you could set a timer. Even if you only get in there and get one comment in a day, it's better than nothing. I mean, sometimes we all need a little social media break, and I hear that, but this is what's working today if you're using LinkedIn to really focus on growing your business. Now that we've talked a whole bunch about strategy, we want to make sure that you are getting your video content uploaded the right way. Now, this might be too basic for some of you, but I'm just here to make sure we're all doing at least the best practices for this. So first up, if you've got your video, you want to make sure that the title means something. If your title just is like video1_final, maybe .mp4, nobody's going to see the title, but the algorithm bots are reading that title, and that is how they're going to decide what your content's about and who it's best to show to. So if you download your video from a video production company, ours will always have your title for you, just FYI. But you want to make sure that that title says something that basically you just want the keywords of your content in your title. So video one's not going to give you any sort of algorithm traction, but Save Money with These Hacks is going to tell the robots, hey, this is what this is about. If someone's looking to save money, I'm going to serve up this content to them. And this works across all channels, especially if you're doing YouTube Shorts as well as LinkedIn. Number two, you want to make sure that you are directly uploading your content. We have an 80-20 rule here at Idea Decanter that any CTA we're doing on LinkedIn, only 20% is leading off platform, because we know people go on the platform and they don't want to leave. If you are asking them to click off, they're going to scroll and scroll and be like, I'll get back to that later, and they are never going to get back to that later. I don't know about you, but have you ever tried searching for an older post? It's not that easy. So you want to upload your content in the platform so that it will autoplay in that platform and people can see your content. And it's just as simple as clicking this media button and uploading your content. YouTube does have a limit of 200 megabytes for a video. So if you're doing vertical short format, you don't have to worry too much about the megabytes, because it's going to probably be like 60. But if you've got like a 2 or 3 minute video and it's not loading, it is probably because it's too big. And there's a ton of free software out there. We use Handbrake to downsize videos all the time. Someone's asking, I made a post this with the video title is generic. Hold on. It went away. Is it worth editing the post, deleting the video, then reloading a version? I don't know, Laura, what do you think? I mean, if it's getting traction, I would not delete it. And your copy is going to be helpful if you've got copy with it, which I'm coming up to here in a second. When you're uploading your videos, if you've got burned in captions, you want to make sure that you turn the captions here off. If you don't have captions, then you want to definitely keep those auto captions on. Most people are still watching videos on silent, so that you want to make sure that they see your content even if they can't hear it. And then you have the option to upload a video thumbnail when you're uploading your videos. Now, when the video is playing, the thumbnail just flashes on for a second. But if you want to pin it to your profile or put it into your featured section, having that thumbnail can go a long way, because the LinkedIn, I'm guaranteeing you, will pick the most unflattering shot of you possible to choose for that thumbnail when you pin it. And if you're doing vertical content, it doesn't exactly crop it very well, so you can actually put a horizontal thumbnail even if you have a vertical video. Or a square one works great too. And then, say you didn't do your video title, your copy is important. Nobody's going to watch your video if your copy just says, hey, I made a new video. You need to give the audience a reason to want to see your to see your content. Copy, content, video, what am I talking about? So make sure that you have at least 100 to 200 words describing what you're talking about, maybe doing a little bit deeper dive of what your video is about, giving people that what's in it for me experience so that they give your content more time of their time. Okay. Excuse me, I need a sip of water. I'm losing my voice. And as you can see, I have kind of a week. Leave a comment below here. So I don't always do my best practices, but I am making it part of my effort going forward. This is an older video. Now, I saw a lot of you furiously taking notes, but we have a checklist here for you that you can download that takes you through everything we just talked about, plus the basic step-by-step upload best practices. Grab this QR code and download it. What's great about it is that you can have this at the ready so that when you go to post, you don't have to think so hard and you can just go through this checklist and mark off every step as you go through it. Who doesn't love the completion tick box experience?
That checklist is really practical. And to bring it to life, let's look at some examples to help you create content that will stand out in the scroll. So I wanted to give you a great example. I decided to record a series of common questions advisors ask us about video marketing. And while I could have stuck my face on camera, I asked myself what would make other people stop scrolling. And at that moment, my Frenchie Tula was sitting at my feet and she let out a loud snore. And I thought, maybe I'll use the dogs. And so this series, I just held a pet up to the camera and had them ask the question and pulled the pet back and answered the question. And by doing that, I stopped more people scrolling through LinkedIn because they were like, oh, this is something I haven't seen. It's jumping out at me. It's not just a face. And that got a lot more traction than much of the content that I put out there. Or maybe like Mitch, you can play the piano. Here he's playing the theme song from the show Severance. I don't know if you've seen it. And then he plays a little rip and then he turns to the camera and delivers this message. And there's entertainment value there. You're at watching him and thinking, what's he doing? Turn the sound on. And Mitch capitalized on that. Also think about what you can say that stirs the pot a little. What I'm talking about here is taking a stand, like on something that drives you crazy or something a little controversial. And I know that might make you a little itchy, like thinking, oh, well, I can't really take a stand in what I do. But there is something out there that you can have an opinion on that will help you get more views, likes, and comments. Here, it drives me crazy when people take a clip-on lav mic and hold it in their hand. And I see content creators do it all the time. And so I decided I'm going to make a little video about it, and it got a ton of traction. So don't shy away from picking something that has a point of view. Also, we've talked a lot about comments and prompting comments and asking questions. Think about ways you can ask a question at the beginning of the video because that will stop the scroll. And then B, what can you put in the copy above the video that prompts the comments? So you can see Art here is asking a question at the beginning of his video. And psychologically, it is nearly impossible for us to hear a question and not try to answer it in our heads. So it's a really great tactic for getting people to engage in what you're talking about. And finally, you've heard this before from marketers, but don't try to talk to everyone. Niche content for a specific audience will get you far more traction than trying to be all things to all people. And that's what this financial advisor, Tracy Richmond, is doing here with a message for parents of the sandwich generation. She creates all kinds of content for folks who are balancing taking care of their aging parents and have kids still in the house. All of the clips that you saw here today are what we do at Idea Decanter. And since 2014, we've worked with hundreds of advisory teams creating thousands of videos in our remote studio and have truly perfected the process of creating compliant pro video content that's fast and easy without the headaches of on-site production. And for any of you that are making video a priority in your marketing in Q4 of this year, in 2026, we built this really cool diagnostic tool and you can get free access. It's called the Video Ready Report, and it gives you a clear, honest snapshot of how you're showing up across digital channels and where you might be leaving opportunity and trust on the table. I will tell you, if you're on this call like Danielle and are already working with our team, you're getting this information from us already. But if you are not, this is a great way to know where you can stack up and how you can grow. So just follow this QR code and start the process for your Video Ready report.
Well, thanks so much for joining us today, and be sure to meet us here back in about a month or so for our next Finfluencer community event. We've invited Aaron Botsford, founder of the Advisor Authority, to focus on year-end prospecting. So don't miss Finish 2025 Strong, Aaron Botsford's powerful prospect closing method. It's Wednesday, November 12th, 9 a.m. Pacific. So what's that, noon Eastern.
And because you are here today, you will get an invitation in your inbox. So we hope to see you then. And remember, you don't need to go viral, but you do need to stop being invisible. And if you have questions, please stick around. I'd like to address one I saw in the chat that was a great question that was, I think, from Aaron originally with some pile on, that you feel like your LinkedIn feed is an echo chamber. And that is something we hear all the time. And there is a way to curate your feed. And that is simply, and I don't know, Sharon, if you can pull up your LinkedIn and go to someone's profile, but at the top of everyone's profile in LinkedIn is a bell. And if you go to someone's profile and click on the bell, it is automatically set by LinkedIn to the middle. Like you'll see what posts are relevant from that person. But if you want to see more of their posts, you can click the all button. And that means every time that person posts, they will show up in your notifications and their content will be more frequently in your feed. And the power of that is picking the people that you want to be watching, you want to be having conversations with and interacting with. If you have 10 target prospects, if you work with business owners nearing exit, and you've identified 10 of those, go ring the bell on all 10 of them and make sure you're showing up frequently in their comments, because you're not just being visible to them, but you are doing them a solid. You're giving them a boost and helping their content as well. This is a quick example. This is where you find the bell. I brought up Derek earlier. Great guy to follow at Constellar, and I have him set to all, so I always see what Derek posts. And if there are advisors that keep showing up and you don't really care about their content, you can certainly click none, and you will stop getting fed their content. Any last questions? Yeah. Thanks for your transparent information on LinkedIn. Just attended a LinkedIn workshop and they said there's nothing new or different with their algorithm. Yeah, and that's funny. I saw a video from a LinkedIn content influencer who had gone to LinkedIn headquarters and chatted with the powers that be about how the algorithm was changing. And he reported back that the comments and the conversations were very important. But he didn't talk at all. He said, video is still the most powerful kind of content you can put out, but he didn't talk at all about the challenges of getting that content out there. Jefferson says he just tried audio in DM for the first time and liked it. Jefferson, take yourself off mute and tell us how it worked.
I was driving back from Dallas last week from an advisor event and just had an idea of I wanted to share with an advisor who was at the event and was driving and didn't want to lose my thought. So I just hit the DM and saw that the audio was available. And so I decided to try to use it. It is a limit of only 1 minute, which sounds like a lot, but it goes by fast. But it's nice. You can go back at any time and hit it. So I liked it.
Yeah, and someone also asked what the power of using video in DMs, and I think it really helps you stand out. And you're always going to, if you polled 10 people, do you like getting a video in a DM? You're going to get different responses, but the real truth about video is that it helps people connect with you in a different way than the words in the message. So video in a DM certainly cannot hurt. There is another way to use audio on your profile. Um, there is a feature on your profile that's kind of cool that Sharon and I were playing with a couple of months back. There's this little speaker button now on your profile, and you can go in and record, I think it's up to 30 seconds. And I think LinkedIn designed it so that you can pronounce your name and people would know how to say it if you've got one of those tricky names to say. But because you have enough time, you can really give a value proposition. And so Sharon and I both kind of honed in on what would be something we could squeeze into 15, 20 seconds and introduce ourselves. So go to your profile and do that. And you probably noticed this scrolling carousel at the top of mine. We are waiting. Someday, I hope LinkedIn turns this into a video option at the top, but they launched earlier this year this scrolling carousel, which I think adds a little something when people check out your profile.
Yeah,
Uh,
you have to have the paid LinkedIn for it.
yeah. Any more questions in the chat? Any more questions? You can take yourself off mute. We can answer for you.
All right.
If you are just getting started on this process, what is the kind of frequency that you should sprinkle in regular posts, maybe some static, like a static image with your own
Mhm.
thoughts, and then videos? I mean, obviously, you don't just want to do video, video, video.
Mhm.
What's kind of the perfect blend and timing for posting that?
That is like my sweet spot. Like that's what I love.
Some of that answer is what can you do?
Hmm.
What would feel comfortable for you? And I would say, based on what we know about the algorithm, if you can show up once a week, you are having success. You are at least gaming the system to some extent. And so if you wanted to do a rotation of that kind of content, and Sharon can talk a little bit more about that because she has created this theory of the content cyclone. Um, but she rotates through those different kinds of posts every time she puts something up.
Yeah, so what my theory is that you come up with an idea and you make a video out of it. You take something from that video, you make a fun graphic, whether it's just a quote or a tip or something, put your face on it, and then create an article post out of it. And you can take one piece of content and have a month's worth of content. And what I like to do is I get like 4 or 5 pieces, 4 or 5 ideas, and then it's like a big bingo rollout. And so I can just space it out so I'm not talking about the same thing all month. So I can keep cycling through, like kind of like, people talk about value pillars or whatever you want to talk about. Like you can create content for all those value pillars and keep cycling through them. And if 10% of your audience is seeing your content, like you can keep reusing some of that content, just freshen it up a little bit every time you post.
Is that a relief, Beverly?
And I will say, like, I don't know how new
Yes.
you are into LinkedIn, but it's really frustrating when you're trying to like add people to your audience. And if you're not a paid profile, they only give you like 5 notes and then you're just blindly connecting with people. It is worth getting that first 30 days of free premium so that you can add notes when you're trying to connect with people if you're fresh starting with LinkedIn. And then you can just cancel it if you don't want to pay for it.
So there's some great information out there from Richard Vanderbloom, who sells a LinkedIn report every year. Um, but then if you get on his distribution list, he ends up dropping kind of chapter by chapter all of the latest and greatest stats. months of the year and does a lot of posts about it. So really great information from there. Sharon and I did have been doing a deep dive science project with LinkedIn this year, testing different cadences, different kinds of content. And I can tell you, I personally went through about 6 months of posting nearly every day and did not really move the needle until I changed my process with commenting on other people's content. So there is a lot of truth in what you're getting rewarded for these days. And it's not stepping on stage and telling people, I know all of this. It's really getting in there. And if you follow, I mentioned Derek Pollard from Constellar Creative earlier. He doesn't post a lot of content. I mean, he's out maybe once or twice a week, but he is on every day commenting on other people's content. And he has, 7,000 followers. So, more questions? Good to see you, Julie. Okay, we will wrap it up there with the reminder that don't need to go viral, but you do need to be visible. Go have some conversations on LinkedIn. It's 15 minutes.
Exactly.
Do it.